he fell about a week plus ago at home and scraped himself up pretty hard, got in the hospital, and they found all kinds of stuff wrong. And needless to say, yeah. All right, I have 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Teresa, please take the roll.
Okay, Mayor Jones.
Here.
Kill.
Here.
Bowen.
Yes.
Horacek.
Here.
Mattson.
Here.
Schilling.
Here.
And Horn is absent with notice.
All right, do we, excuse me, do we have any additions or a motion of approval for the agenda for tonight's meeting?
Motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horacek?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
All right, how about on the meeting minutes from the 6:25 meeting?
Motion to approve the minutes from 6:25's meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling?
Yes.
Horacek?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right, next on the agenda is a review of the open meeting laws. It's in your packet. You'll need to scroll down a ways. We're gonna, that law kicked into effect today, and we have to, by the law, review our open meeting once a year.
Right. Basically, they pass it for annually, so once a year, you have to review the open meeting laws at one of your meetings. Like I said, we'll review it now to cover this year, and then I'll just put it on the agenda every January going forward.
And the pamphlet is in your computer, but I'm going to review what I would consider and what Teresa prepared as the key points of this law. Municipalities are now required to do an annual review of their open meeting law. An official meeting is when a quorum is discussing city business, either in person, by teleconference, email, texting, or any other type of internet medium, including social media. Special and rescheduled meetings require personal, mailed, emailed, or telephone notice to local media who have requested it, in addition to standard publication notice requirements. Public comment period is still required at each meeting. That was enacted last year, and you notice coming up in the agenda, we have that in our agenda every meeting. Meetings can be recorded. We actually go one step farther. We live stream our meetings so they can jump on and watch them live. Only executive sessions are closed to the public and must meet certain criteria noted in South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2 or South Dakota Codified Law 9-34-19. Violations of open meeting laws is a Class 2 misdemeanor, punishable by 30 days in jail, $500 fine, or both. For any action to be taken by the council, the agenda item needs to be on the agenda 24 hours in advance. Otherwise, only discussion can be held. Agendas and meeting minutes must be posted and made available to the public. And that's the long and the short of the open meeting laws. And for the public and for the folks watching, our quorum is 4.
Correct.
And that's not including me, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it's 4
So,
of the 6 council.
If 4 councilmen are together, then we're at a quorum. 3 and me is not, 4 and me is,
Yes.
And 4 without you is.
and 4 without me is.
Without him, yes.
So, and Tom, our city attorney, has addressed most of the other things. The big deal is responding to emails, responding to texts, making sure that we're not Nonetheless.
doing it as a group.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
do an all reply.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up my concern again. I know we talked about it with those, and I think it's such so, this is a class 2 misdemeanor if this is
Yes.
broken, right?
Yeah.
So I would really love to see, and I've said this again, but now I think, there's been some issues across the state where these have obviously been broken. I would just like to see, when there is communication going out to the council members, that everyone's BCC, that way someone doesn't accidentally hit reply all. And then, that is breaking, if it's city business, that is breaking the law, whether it's on
Right.
accident or not. So I think it's a very just simple step, BCC. That's my opinion, but I think it's just a very simple thing to do
I can do that.
so that we don't break a law.
Yep.
Again. Oh, wait, no, we never have, I'm just kidding.
Way back, since we're talking open meeting, way back early in my council days, man, maybe the first summer I was on, I think I shot a text out to the council. And one of our members at the time, who sits in Cindy's chair, Mark Monahan, sends me a text just almost immediately. You maybe don't realize this, you can't do that.
Don't do that stuff.
Only about parades.
And it was something goofy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just joke with the top.
It's good to have that.
Yeah, so, anyway, anybody have any questions, comments, additions to that discussion?
3 and you, okay, 4 and you, no way.
No way. Maybe that's the way to remember that. Got it, all right, yeah. All right. Thank you for obliging us that. No bills to be paid. And now we come to the time of public comment. That is for anybody from the public that has a non-agenda item that they would like to discuss.
All right.
Yes, sir. Tell us who you are and so they can get
You want the
you.
address too, or not?
Oh, if you'd like, yeah.
I
man.
don't care.
Yeah,
Adam Morehauser, 47016, 256th Street, Trucks.
Okay.
Come here to talk about the Swanson 80 up here north of town.
Okay.
Where the ball fields are, and then
Yep.
Black Tie and Central States up there.
yep,
I know we've had heavy rains, but it's been the last couple of years. The drainage out of there goes to the east through Winterstein's field there, comes in the ditch, goes east, comes across the road, comes across north 258 through a culvert, runs through our field there, and floods us out down there on the bottom because it's really flat down there.
okay.
I don't know, what do you guys want to do about that? Because it is really discouraging every year to see it flooded out, and we got drain tile in there to help protect ourselves, but it's not enough to handle the water that comes off of what's coming out of there. And we also added another line out there to that culvert to help with the water flow out of there too. But it still overwhelms us when you get heavy rains like this, but even when you get a half-inch of rain,
Yeah.
it still is overwhelming out there. If I was Winterstein's there, I would be very irritated with that because I don't think they've ever planted a crop there that's come out of there in that corner. And you only get a little narrow corner to plant up there. We got to pulled up and go around to another field before you get to the rest of the field. And it's always just a constant flow of water coming out of there. I would compare it to like if your neighbor ran a sump pump out of their basement into your lawn, 24/7, 365. That's what it's like, so.
Okay. So, did you have that map up? Where, so,
What's your address again?
47016, 256th Street. But the address out here is B 258 in
So it'd be the
Van
Swanson,
Wart.
so are you talking the southeast
okay.
corner of the ball fields?
No, I'm talking the northeast corner, up there between Black Tie and Central States.
up there. Yeah, he's
Oh,
talking up
talking
there.
that
by-
northeast corner.
Because when you redid, we never really had that much of an issue until Black Tie went in there, and that's a big building.
Yep.
And when they leveled that all off, it pushed all the water to the east. In my opinion, it should have gone to the west, gone along the ditch and gone north across into the creek. There's a creek about 1/8 of a mile to the
Right.
north there of the highway. And to me, that's the way the water should have flowed. I guess you shouldn't be flooding farm ground out, I guess, is what I'm saying. That creek goes through our property anyway, and I'd rather have it in that than going through the crop ground,
You're right.
destroying crop ground. To me, it's a lot easier going through a pasture. Who cares about it? I mean, yeah, it does big damage, but I'd rather have it in a blue line. If you look on a platted map, a blue line is what I refer to as a creek.
Yeah.
And that's what it should go to. I guess it should not go through, to me, you're putting a burden on us by flooding us out over there, is what you're doing. I mean, you spend money and you got nothing to show for it right now, so.
So does it run down to kind of that vacant, what I would call that vacant road to the east of them and then to the ditch? Is that where,
It goes.
you know, Craig, how does the water
Yeah,
run out
so
there?
if you look at his field that he's talking about, it comes through that west corner of it up there, and it kind of.
It comes.
About probably 100 yards off.
It comes more in the southeast corner is where it comes across. The southeast corner of our property. And
Which
it's
is
all
across the oil.
Across the oil, and then it goes through, it goes quarter mile to the north through our property, and then there's a culvert that takes it to the east side to discharge it going east.
Okay.
Through, there's a pasture there of, I can't remember the name of those people now.
It's not Smithbacks.
No.
No, past them?
No, it's not even Smithbacks.
Oh, it's before that, before the Colton Road.
Before the Colton
Stan
Road.
McKee's, I think, property there.
Well, Dennis has it, but it's not his. I can't think of, I'd have to pull it up. and
Hold
see
away?
here. What's that?
Hold away?
No. That's my own.
So how does that work when, Michael, when we see, like for black tie, for instance, when we see their plans, what kind of detail do we get?
Yeah.
That shows how they're-
It used to be a roll-off or whatever.
Okay,
That's what
okay.
it is. That's the property. Yeah, you're right.
Cobra News?
Yep.
They're required to have stormwater plans on it to show that the discharge from the site before construction is not being exceeded once the improvements are made. That usually
Okay.
is done via a pond, which I believe they have a pond on the east, behind the black tie, on the east side of their property,
Yeah.
which would, discharge to that.
But if it's not working properly, how do you guys know if it's working properly? I mean, why are we getting so much water 24/7 all the time? How do we know that it's working properly?
So they provide us drainage calculations, which we review as part of our process. One thing I will say about it is since they are increasing the impervious area, yes, there is less that is absorbed by the ground, but
Yeah.
typically that is offset by detaining it in a pond structure and releasing it slowly.
But you got a big culvert back there, so how's that releasing it slowly compared to, I mean,
Compared to existing, I mean,
Yes.
what was provided in the plans indicated that.
to me, I don't think the water ever ran that way to the east. The water more came to the west on that property. To me, it never really ran to the east there. I'd have to see a topography map to know,
Yeah,
but,
We can
but
take a look at the.
to me, as far as I'm concerned, I go back on Google Earth and go back how many years, and there's a little narrow stretch in there that never got farmed, okay? That's fine, okay, whatever, they have.
Right.
But now it's such a wide area back there, so you can't tell me that they're not affecting the flow of water, I mean, or decreasing it or controlling it. They're
That's not
increasing the
correct.
amount of water that's going across there.
Those ponds will release water over a longer period, but the rate that it releases it at is lower than it was in the
But
existing condition.
surface water running 24/7 is not good. You don't want surface water running 24/7, do you? On your property, if you have your property, you have a large surface water running 24/7 on it, would you like that?
No, we just had an exceptionally wet spring, that's.
We've had the driest spring, we've
Yeah,
had the last two dry springs.
I got a
Okay.
quick question. I totally
Yeah.
understand your frustration,
Yeah.
right? So prior to black tie components, because you own the land, right? Or you farm the land?
I farm, it's not, it's my uncle's
Yep.
anyway.
So prior to black tie components?
Yeah.
Was it ever an issue?
No.
Okay, so here's a question I have, and I don't know how this generally works out in an issue like this. Have you had conversation with them at all on that?
Well, I come to you guys first because it's.
Totally, no, I'm
you
just
guys are
asking-
the ones who approved the plan
Yep,
out there and
I'm
all
just-
that, so
yeah, I'm
I
just
guess I
asking.
come to you guys first.
Yeah, I'm just
And then
asking.
you guys talk to them, to me, it should come down to you guys, your engineer, go talk to them and see what's up with it, I guess, and see
We're
what we
gonna have
need to do.
to, we're gonna have to do a little digging into this, Michael. You wanna do that?
Yep, I can begin.
And then why don't you, make sure that he had,
It's on the attendance sheet.
oh, it's on, your phone's on there too? Good, perfect.
Are you
Okay.
farming Biggs ground too?
Yeah.
That's the
That's
south,
what it
that's the
is.
south corner,
Is
okay.
that where it's going?
Yes, that's where it's going
To the
to.
north
Should
of
go into Gerald
Winterstein?
Biggs or, yes, that's where it's going to.
So
parcel
you're
north.
saying since this last rain, it's just been running,
Oh, I mean, we've had the 2 driest springs the last 2 years, and it's always been wet there. They can't even plant that on Winterstein's there.
even when it's dry?
Even when it's dry, and then, you can drive by it right now and you see water coming right out of
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I mean, and, yeah, there's no water coming in our field right now, but you just wait till you get a half-inch of rain, you'll see water coming right down through there again. I mean, it gets frustrating when you got a 3-foot goalie in your field, and it's not your fault that it's there,
All right.
And then,
Yeah,
plus another couple acres that get drowned out, because that's where all the water runs to, and just
Right.
pools up
Sets.
down there.
Yeah, yep, I get it.
So,
All right, you want to get on this and we will,
let me know if you
Yeah,
want to meet out there.
absolutely.
I'm more
Yeah.
happy, we'll come
Okay,
out.
you bet.
I don't care, let me know.
All right.
I'll meet you out there, and we'll talk about it, what we want to do,
Perfect.
so.
well,
All
we
right.
appreciate you coming and sharing that with us.
Okay,
You bet.
thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we will move on to applications, agreements, hearings, resolutions, ordinances. First one up is a special event application for St. George Catholic Church for August 10th. They're requesting a street closure, beer on the street, down here by the brewery. They did this last year,
I
but a
would say
different
they
time.
did kind of the same
Yeah.
event last year too.
Yeah.
Last year they called it their spring fling, but they held it in May. This year it's.
Now it's their
August.
spring fling and they're holding it in August, yeah.
Yeah.
Motion to approve the special event application as presented by St. George Catholic Church.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horacek? Gee, I
Yes.
gotta stop and think. Schilling, I gotta get my names right.
Yes.
Sorry. That's a lot for me, I'm just saying. All right, we are going to move down to reports. First up, Deputy Rechtenbaugh. We got a couple things we want to talk to you about, so we'll let you do your report and then we'll talk.
So this one, the report was taken from June 1st to June 25th. We had 240 calls for service, which was a decrease of 101 calls. There were 3 accidents, 2 injured, or 2 without injury, 1 with injury. 1 DUI, which was a decrease of 3. 1 burglary, which was the same. 57 traffic stops, 17 traffic complaints, controls, hazards, motorist assist, stuff like that's included as well. We had 4 warrant services, 22 citations, 16 case reports, and then 5 arrests.
All right. All right, before we move on to a couple topics we want to discuss, anybody got any questions generally on the report for the deputy? If not, last week, Keely is here. Keely had sent me a note. We had a little discussion about speeding on Colton Road. You and I
watched
talked.
that one.
Yeah.
I watched it.
Yeah. What can you tell us?
Well, I've sat up there the past past couple days, and like, I usually try and sit up there. That's usually one of my rotations. I'll sit up there, monitor speed and whatnot, and I stopped one, it sounded like from the meeting last week, it was more concerning with truck drivers.
Yes.
I did stop one on, then the day after, and I told him to tell his guys that we've been getting complaints, so, and I think whatever they're doing, they were done with, because I haven't seen that company on there the last 2 days.
Have you noticed a reduction in trucks? No.
Just when he's there.
Yeah.
I
Oh, they
know.
slow down when he's there.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, but that happens everywhere he sits.
Yep. If I could have him full-time, that'd be great. I can tell when he's there, when I don't even have to see him.
Yeah, you can tell by the sound.
Yep.
I'd ask you, Jonah, so when you're heading north,
He's scary, they're scared to death of him.
well, I am too, he's watching me when I'm home. When you're heading north out of town,
Yep.
so you're kind of coming up the knoll there by, how come I can't think of the street? No.
Fairway Lane,
No.
Sagehorn.
Sagehorn. When you're by Sagehorn and you're heading north, when can you see the 55? 'Cause-
It wouldn't be until,
They have to get up a ways.
yeah, and it's not when you see it, it's like, you can't just, if you
But
say you see
I
it,
guarantee you
yeah.
that that's what's happened. But like
Yeah, I
from
talked to-
Keely's driveway,
I talked to a kid that I stopped going 62 in that zone, and he said he saw that. I was like, it's not when you see it, it's like you gotta slow down before you hit the sign.
It's
Yeah.
not 55 till you get to,
oh, you're on the way edge. I understand that. But that's, the reason I'm asking the question is because I think these trucks are probably, if they see the sign, they're stomping it
they can't see it from.
from your place.
No.
Okay.
It's pretty far
It's
north.
already at the golf course, it's 35.
There's a sign, a speed limit sign, 200 feet before her driveway that says 35. That's northbound.
Yes.
I heard him shifting gears at the cemetery today, coming up. I could hear him shifting as far as the
Yeah.
cemetery. And that's not usually the problem. The problem isn't as much heading north as it is when they're coming in.
Yeah, the kid that I stopped going 62 was headed south.
Yeah, that's the
And I
biggest.
he tried to argue with me, and he was unfortunate because I hit him with the laser, and that tells you how far the vehicle was from where I was sitting. And so I brought him back, pulled it up on the map, and I was like, here's what my laser shows. This is where that is. That's well within that speed zone, so.
Al Hartman had put a camera, he has a camera that tests his granddaughter's pitching speed.
Yeah, he told me
He
that.
put that on his mailbox.
Yeah.
And it's, again, it's not probably that accurate, but it caught him going.
So it is both ways, but you think worst with coming in.
Coming in, yeah.
There's a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit about 200 feet south of 9th Street there too.
Yeah.
I think,
Because I think
Yeah,
when
because
they're
there's
going
like
north,
two
they notice
35s
it's
back to back,
residential.
and then the 55 isn't till the end of the tree line on the golf course.
Right.
but if I'm north-southbound, maybe we need another southbound speed limit sign.
I was bike riding on that.
Or maybe a speed zone.
I don't think it's gonna
a
slow
warning
down.
of a
They know-
speed
they know
zone
the
ahead.
speed limit.
I don't think there is any of that.
Darrell, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, the first speed limit sign I saw coming south was at the top of the hill, is that Sagehorn, at the top of the hill, that's the first one I saw where it said 35.
I don't think the sign's golf course.
There's one by the golf course.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You're heading south,
I talked to
you're heading
our-
south is up by that very.
One of our SROs is
Yeah,
in charge
wherever
of
you hit
like
the golf
speed
course.
trailers.
Mine must be
I
that.
sent him an email and I found out that ours doesn't work, so.
So I talked to the county,
Because I was gonna maybe consider having that out there to see how big of an issue it is, because those will give you also like a report of like.
Oh,
these-
how many are,
Yeah, these counted this many vehicles,
Right.
these were the speeds, this was the highest speed. But thing with that, it doesn't tell you what one's a patrol vehicle, because a lot of those high speeds, like, that's, most of the time it's like, because there's one, for an example, there's one on Crooks in the main drag where it's like a 25, and there was like,
And 80 miles an hour.
yeah, it's like, that's definitely a patrol vehicle, because if someone's going through there at 80 miles an hour, I would hope someone would call it in. but-
All right, Craig.
so I talked to Jacob with the county.
Yep.
He's the superintendent for the highway department.
Yep.
Because this is a county road.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
not
it is a
our
county
road.
road, yeah.
So I talked to him quite a bit today about putting up, they've got ones that are actually like a little box that goes on that they can check speed.
Stealth box.
Yep, and they could check, I think I could tell what type of, if it's a car or if it's a truck or semi. They work better than the speed trailers, because the speed trailers, when they set them up, they show your speed, and people think that they're getting radar, so they'll slow down right away. So if you're trying to catch them with that, we did put the tubes out today, so they're out there, and then we'll tell you, like, 11 different classes of vehicles, from golf cart, motorcycle, up to a semi, pull, triples.
Right.
And they will tell speed, and they'll be able to break it down to what the car's 50 percentile is doing, 85 percentile, and they'll tell on the trucks too, 50 and 85 percentile. So we'll have those out there next week, I'll pull them, we'll download it, we'll put it back out there again, and that'll give us a good indication of what the trucks are actually doing up there, what the cars are actually doing, what time of day is the highest speed is
Right.
up there. And it gives, so it'll give you a lot of that information.
There's gonna be a high one today at, it was around like 3, because I responded to a burglary call.
Okay, what time was that at, just so we can?
You actually can break that thing down by every single vehicle that goes through. It's a lot of data, though, I mean, it's a lot
Right,
of sheets.
yeah.
It's just best to do the 85% up. When I was talking to Jacob, he said there's 3 county roads in Minnehaha County that are the worst for people that are, it's easy to speed on. Colton Road's one, Ellis, and then Parkway, Memorial Parkway, east of Delaware Veterans Parkway. So them are the 3 worst for speeding
Yep.
because you feel like you're out of town.
Right.
So we'll, like I said, we put those out there, we'll build a track for stuff, we'll have more data by the next meeting, exactly what the speeds are
Yeah,
out there.
to your point, it won't help, but it can't hurt, because I've caught myself rolling in there.
Totally.
And
I
you're
got
you're
you
rolling past
10
the,
years ago.
you're rolling past the
That
golf
means
course,
it.
and then pretty soon, oh, I'm in Hartford, and I'm rolling.
Yeah.
So,
I think a little, I
You
don't
can
know what
stop a
other
little
kinds,
faster than a semi can stop.
Yes.
100%.
Pulls out for.
Yeah.
what other types of signage, you know, if there can be.
Stop signs.
If there can be.
I'm kidding.
That's
I was gonna build a little
Feel like you're
roundabout, because I
gardening.
was thinking gardening, you know, I like to garden, I was gonna make a little roundabout up there.
I'm totally for that, yes.
That would be
Well,
sweet.
I'm totally not, but that's
It's a
okay.
county road, so.
Yeah, we
the
can't
best
put up
we can
any
do is
signs.
Tell them we want some better signage on the speed or.
We can ask, yeah, we can ask.
Well, Keely, I hope you know,
I appreciate it.
we
I
did
appreciate
listen to what
This
you're,
is way better than I've gotten in years.
And I like to sit up there, so.
Yeah, we
This
don't
is
like
fantastic.
speeders.
I mean-
It's an excuse to sit up there.
Sweet.
You know, the other thing is, we can't spend city taxpayer dollars on county roads, right? So
Yes,
we're,
But I pay tax money too, and that's
Yeah.
my road.
right, but
But it is.
at what point do
There's
we
not a lot
stop
that we
and
can
the
do.
county
Yeah.
starts, you know?
Yeah.
But I appreciate it, I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
but we are generally seeing, I think, Jonah, you'd probably, I mean, there is the respect for law, speeding, all kinds of laws, it appears to me, is really waned. I mean, they just go, you talk about your street, I'm telling you, when you, Mickelson, when you got a cornfield on one side, they see that cornfield on the side of me, they go past my house like you can't believe.
It's a nice road.
It's a great road.
Easy to go.
Good that we
fast.
haven't paved all the way, no.
Yeah, now we got it paved.
See, on
Hey,
Nicholson though, I just hit my cruise.
I do
I
too.
put on the speed limit and I hit my
I do
cruise,
too.
'cause I don't wanna, yeah.
Because I seen this guy setting up there too often. Okay, so we'll get some data, if you need that info, by all means, Teresa can get it to you if you need it.
And if you ever wanna hide in my driveway, you wanna,
Which one's yours?
I have the big rock and the flag out front. It's got a concrete driveway.
It's where the soon-to-be roundabout, where she's digging up the road for a
You
roundabout.
just gotta
Tuck
tuck
it back
yourself
there.
back there, they can't even see you.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
I've been flipped off before, because I was filming somebody at a semi one time, and he flipped me off for filming him.
The problem is with, I mean, when you see us parked parallel with the road, we're running radar. If we're perpendicular, we're using laser. And with laser, like, you kind of, like, it has a lot more play than radar does.
Yeah.
So you can't pick up vehicles going perpendicular with the radar. And it's tougher with the laser if you're offset.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, that's good to know.
That's very good.
That's good
I just went to the
information.
radar LiDAR.
Totally, yeah, that's crazy.
All right, let's move on to our second one that we had under your report. Discussion of electric scooters and e-bikes. Teresa found some information and put it in the packet. One thing that I found interesting is Sioux Falls does not allow them on their bike trail.
Yeah. Neither does Bell Rapids.
So personally, I would rather have them on the bike trail than on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
in Sioux Falls, there's a lot of other sidewalks.
Yeah,
You know, for, especially if you think about Turtle Creek and that
right.
path to the school, that's,
Yep, playgrounds, soccer, yeah, all of that, not soccer.
the only thing, like, because I always like to look at both sides, because, and I tend to be more of a fan of them being on the paths, bike paths as well, but we also have to think about our walkers.
Yeah.
If you have, I know a lot of our elderly will go to the bike paths because there isn't sufficient sidewalks. You know, they get themselves, there's families, there's small children, you know, so then you have the possibility of, you know, you have kids on these scooters that aren't paying attention to walkers. So I tend to like them staying on the bike paths, but I also try to think about our walkers that are on there, other people who are using it just outside of the e-bikers and the scooters. I think that's something that we should take into consideration.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting topic, because even just driving today, I'm like, these things are all over, and they drive crazy.
And they're fast.
They're fast, they go up to 20, some of them can go above 20 miles an hour, and I agree, like, yeah, you don't want to sanction them only in the bike paths. Well, here's the thing, no kids are gonna listen to that, okay? We're gonna overburden law enforcement with that. Now, can I just spitball here real quick on
Yep.
this, because this, I think the scooter culture is gonna go away eventually, I really do. I think a bunch of kids are gonna get fat, and their parents are gonna say, hey, you need to get back on the bicycle. Sorry, I don't care, I think that's what's gonna happen. What I,
Send your emails to, no.
that's fine, that's smart, yeah. So, I'm just curious, and I typically don't like things like this, but I think we are, there is going to be something that's gonna happen. I mean, they ride them without helmets. Once again, this is a parenting issue. I mean, this is totally a parenting issue. I talked to my neighbor kid, he just got one of these, and I told him, I said, dude, you have to stop at the stop signs. And I said, legally, man, you can't even be on the road with us, because you're like 10 or 12 or whatever. I said, but I'm just telling you, there's a lot of conversation about even possibly getting rid of these things on city roads. So I said, you need to drive careful, okay? I'm just curious, like, if we did, and I don't even know what this would cost, but some type of citywide marketing campaign on this specific issue. Like I said, I typically don't like to use taxpayer dollars when it's a parenting issue, okay?
Right.
I don't like those things, but I just want to throw that out there. How are we going to create awareness? And like I said, I hate the idea of helping parents out in terms of a specific parenting issue from a city taxpayer standpoint, but I'm getting frustrated with it too. Now, thankfully, I haven't had any close calls like you guys yet,
Yeah.
but I know that, dang man, it's
Yeah.
gonna happen. Something's gonna happen.
What if we collaborate with the school and the superintendent, and we see if we can have education at the school that's required, like an assembly, where there is, you know, we're trying to educate so that we are not having to go towards banning them. And it is like a seminar that we're working with the school so that they put that into some of the education for kids.
Right.
I mean, I know that it's going to be at the fire and rescue, but I think if we need to really drill it into these kids too, that you're gonna potentially get these taken away if you're not obeying, if you're not looking, because the parents and the community is really concerned about this.
So I'll tell you the one I seen today. We're riding home from the pool, Deb and I, 9:30. 2 kids on scooters. And I could see the first kid because he was standing up. And I knew there was one behind him, but I couldn't see anybody on it. He was sitting down on the scooter with his hands up, driving the thing. I went past him and I thought, holy smokes. First off, I don't know that I can do that. I don't think I'm that, you know,
Yeah,
that's some
I've seen a brother-
talent.
I've seen a brother-sister where the little
So,
girl is hanging
I
out in
mean,
the back. of
that's
the
what I
car.
seen, that was this morning.
I used to do that on my
Oh.
scooter going
You're-
down the hill.
Yeah, you're one of those guys, you know,
I think
yeah.
there's kids that aren't even school age.
Yeah.
Well, today I see,
Well, the thing that's difficult too is like, anybody know how old a kid has to be how old enough to commit a crime? 10.
Can I answer it?
10 years old.
Yeah.
I asked him today, 'cause
Is this a voice of
there was
experience?
there was a kid on Main Street, right in the center of Main coming down, and when I went to back out, I could barely see her head above the vehicle.
Yeah.
I stopped, she went by, she flew through the stop sign here, didn't even, she kept glanced, but kept going. That's when I called, they said, oh, can you ticket them? Find that out. 'Cause
Well, I'm pretty sure there's a city ordinance that they're not supposed to be driving down the main street because it's like a business district.
Yeah.
What did you say at an earlier meeting, they're not supposed to be in the streets?
Yeah, they're not
Kids
supposed
that-
to be in the
so
street.
children-
Oh, you have to have a
It's
driver's,
very-
you have to have a driver's license to be driving an electronic vehicle,
Right,
technically
yeah.
on the street.
So kids can't be, I mean, you have to, like you said, be old enough to
We need to ticket.
drive.
Right.
Yeah.
How do we put all this information out there in an easy?
Yeah.
Well, I thought I had to fix with close
Like I
to
say,
that.
so the sheriff's department did post,
Yeah.
a nice posting out, we shared it with it, yeah.
And I thought, I'm honest, it was pretty good a couple weeks, but that's all it lasted, it was a couple weeks. And then, cause I sat on Vandemark and Railroad, and before we put that out, a couple days later, well, we put that out like a Friday, I think. I came back that Monday, there's a kid coming, first kid I saw came, stopped right in front of me and walked it until he got to the sidewalk and then continued back on the sidewalk.
Here's a
And then
quick-
other kids were taking the sidewalk, because the sidewalk goes past the bus barn there,
Yeah.
they were taking that, so.
Here's just a quick idea. So you guys have your deputies badge, your stars, right? So when you're out, interacting, what happens if the city made some material? And as you're cruising around, you see some kids at the park, whatever, with their scooters. Hey, here's a little handout. Bring this, who knows how effective. I'm just trying to think of ways to get that in,
They won't even get home.
in a cost of, I don't know. I don't know if you give them something or.
I know.
Or if like I said, I talk to my neighbors, so maybe that's an encouragement for all of us. If you see these kids riding around, just pull over quick and chat with them. Pull over quick, hey, I'm on my golf cart all the time, but hey, it'd be nice to have something to give to them. I don't know.
What are you hearing from the other deputies around county? Is it,
It's a problem everywhere.
Everywhere.
And I
Yeah.
can tell you how many, I don't know if people are stopping them, I stopped them, I don't generate a call for service.
Right.
I don't call out a traffic stop, because I just pull next to the kids and be like, hey, you're supposed to be on the sidewalk, not the road.
Yeah.
And then most of them are like, okay. And then, but yeah, I don't know if any other deputies are doing that, but I can tell you, I haven't heard any people, because when they're calling out traffic stops, when it's a scooter, because they're gonna say, because you call out the plate of the vehicle, well, if it's a scooter, they're saying, you're more than likely gonna say kid on a scooter.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys don't have a tent.
I've got the solution, Mayor.
what is that?
Your sidewalk initiative. Because much like walkers, if I'm on a scooter and I'm off the sidewalk onto the street, I'm not going back on the sidewalk.
They're gonna stay on the street.
Yeah.
And I have seen kids where they'll be on the sidewalk and then go, they'll cross a street.
Totally.
And then they'll cross, not back onto the sidewalk, onto the street, and then, I don't know if they remember, oh, I gotta get back to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And you know how, it's pretty difficult to chase these kids down in a pickup too, because they're pretty, I'll see one from a ways away and I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna see if I can cut it off, and then I'll get looking and they're nowhere to be found, so I'm like, eh.
Laser.
Electric scooter. Faster one.
Yeah.
Well,
We need a scooter patrol.
Check that pickup in for a
Situation,
scooter.
but there was a young girl on a bike going on the interstate one day that Tim and I saw, and we were gonna go by, and then he's like, we gotta go back. I mean, she was going on the on-ramp onto I-90 when one lane was closed for construction on a bike. And so we got up there, and she was very, first of all, I told her, it was like, little girl, so I'm like, just stay in the car.
Yeah.
She doesn't need you. Anyway, and I was just like, you either need to go down the ramp now, or, so we can follow you home, and we're gonna talk to your parents about why you're on a bike getting on the interstate. No, don't talk to me, you shouldn't be talking to me, just really kind of sassy, and then I'm like, here's your choice, we either do that or we call the cops, and we're not leaving. And we finally called.
Yeah, you guys are probably busy too, but you guys can stop them too, because I mean, you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but you guys can technically citizens arrest people more than we can. So like a class 2 misdemeanor, we have to see that happen for us to be able to arrest someone. You guys could see that happen, and you could do like a citizen's arrest report, but we're not gonna be arresting kids.
So even if we see and call it in, nothing's gonna be,
If you stop, like, if you get a good description, I'll try and locate them, like Kyle called me, I tried to locate some kids that he said were leaving the pool. I'm pretty sure I was up on Mickelson, so it took me a minute. I never found them, but at least it's one, I can count with 2 fingers how many calls I've seen throughout the whole county regarding scooters when I've been working.
Right.
One was in Brandon, and one was here, which was Kyle calling me.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll have to get our, we better get the sidewalk initiative back on the agenda next
It makes
meeting.
0 sense to me that they can only ride them on the sidewalks and then we say they can't be on the bike paths. I don't like it either.
Right.
They're not being safe, they're not being considerate, but to let them be on sidewalks and then tell them they can't be on the bike path.
No, I think our ordinance says they can't, right?
It doesn't
not
say.
really,
We don't-
because it says they gotta have plastic wheels and only go 7 miles an hour.
So really, we cannot-
These ones are zipping around.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, human-propelled bicycles, scooters, skateboards, and mopeds are allowed. Human-propelled.
Yeah, but then it
Electric
also
scooters
says,
with plastic wheels,
Yes.
toy vehicles with plastic wheels that do not exceed 7 miles per hour.
right,
So electric scooters with plastic wheels, we don't put a speed limit on that.
right.
Yeah. And like
I don't
on
know
the,
what kind
so
of
then
things
that
that-
makes me go to, since it, like, there's nothing that really defines it great on the state side, or on the city side, so then I go revert back to the state side, which
Yeah.
it's all right for them to be on the sidewalks and whatnot.
All right.
Sioux Falls has it laid out nicely. It's
Yeah.
Not quite dumbed down to a military level, but it's pretty close.
And I saw a guy posted that, replied to the post that we put on there and then critiqued our advice. I was like, well, I made this post like for the Hartford area.
Yeah.
It wasn't, if you're referring to Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office for a Sioux Falls PD matter, we don't do much in Sioux Falls except for once.
Well, we'll keep discussing, and I think you're right. I think we're gonna have to kick our sidewalk deal into gear and figure out how we're gonna pay for all of them.
I do kind of like Michelle's idea of doing something through the school.
Yep.
So maybe
Yeah, that
next,
is a good
so
idea.
maybe next year we can work with the resource officer and.
I know,
The best
I
part
don't know
is,
about a
this
letter
is a
to-
seasonal problem.
like
Yeah.
sticking it in a letter that we mail out for some other purpose or mailing out, doing a mailer about it would be the worst thing
Yeah, if we
either.
have a mailer come up, we could maybe do something.
Even like if we just generated some, some posters, I mean, hey, Sunshine, can you put a poster up there?
Do we have you scheduled for the market at all?
Sunshine.
For the farmer's market to come down at all?
I could see, hey, Sunshine.
I don't think we have
great
you
place to
scheduled this
show.
year. Maybe we should visit and, maybe we could get you, and we could just have like an information.
Yeah,
like,
table
just,
or just have you
you
guys,
know.
because I know in the past, the guys have come and, wander around.
You know?
At the
And I asked
market.
if there was gonna be a bike rodeo, but maybe we'll bring up like a scooter rodeo. I'll send that out to our lady that's kind of in charge
Does
of
that?
community engagement.
All right.
I will say we could do better because your post was reshared by the city of Hartford with one person liking it and now 2, because I liked it. Nobody, and there's been 2 shares. So I think we can all do better on a much simpler level. Just, we share a lot dumber stuff every day on our
And
social
I mean,
media.
maybe we just reshare it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say something about, are they gonna have something at the fire department safety day?
Yeah. I'll do
Yes.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
That would be
And I know
a way
that,
to
like, I would
maybe have
like-
something to hand out during that time.
It's
too.
later, but it's in August.
August
but,
23rd, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this issue will go into next year too, so if we don't start addressing
Yeah.
it, so.
All right. All right, we should keep moving. Any other comments or questions for the deputy? If not, we'll cut him loose and let him go set up on Colton Road. Oh, you're going home.
Our guys do a pretty good job there.
All right.
But he said he liked sitting over there.
He does like sitting up there. He likes sitting on Mickelson too. See you, Jonah. All right. City engineer report. I better make sure I call him, I can look at him, call him the right name, Michael. Most exciting part of the evening. Michael, go ahead. Thanks, Keely.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Good evening, everyone. Pretty quick one tonight, but just quick introductions to Ellie. She's our intern this summer, attending Dort, civil engineer, engineering program there, but wanted to get some experience on the city side, the other side of civil engineering, call it, so thought I'd bring her to a council meeting or two to get some of that exposure, so she's happy to be here, I'm sure.
Happy to be here.
Go Crusaders, right?
Defenders.
Defenders. Oh, well, Crusaders, who are the Crusaders? Defenders.
She's like, I don't know.
I thought maybe Google would see, come on.
Defenders.
There you go for a fun fact and you
Yeah.
bang.
Well, what Christian college isn't a crusade?
True.
Water resource recovery facility, ongoing work startup there. Not much of a change since last week, truthfully, it's only been 6 days, so plant startup's going well.
6 days.
So moving along nicely there. Western Avenue, that's probably one of the most progress since last week. As you probably have noticed, curb and gutter, turn lanes, and Mickelson Main Line has gone in. And mainline paving of Western Avenue is actually planned for tomorrow morning. That'll be about a 700 cubic yard pour, so they're gonna do that full width. I don't know if you saw the 2 hours it took them to do Mickelson, but they'll probably be done with that, I'd say, around lunchtime. So it'll go pretty quick. It's quite a neat process they've got there. And then, once they're done with that, just a little bit on the center on the east side of Mickelson Road, and then that road will be left to cure, as we kind of wait for that to cure to get started on phase 2. That's anticipated for late next week or early the following week, so call it July 15th, or 14th rather, that's that Monday. We should be, have traffic switched over. Moving on, the Parks Master Plan noted in here that the report's been delivered. That is anticipated by end of day Wednesday. Internally, I checked, they're just putting the final touches on that, so that will be provided to Teresa tomorrow. Similarly, Swenson Park, Ellie got me the final comments, final updates on that, so I just got to do a quick review, and then I will also send that out for the city staff. That notice of publication did get posted, sent to the paper today, so that'll be posted this week and next, according to codified law. Quick update on Kelly Avenue. The existing model has been calibrated. We've started evaluating the alternate solutions to that area. In that same vein, we do plan to review preliminary options with city staff next Thursday, and then present those to you at the next council meeting, just to start thinking about that, get that process going. So that is all I had on the project side. Happy to answer any questions that arise. Otherwise, there's a few action items for council.
Any questions for Michael before we move on to the action items? All right, hearing none, let's take care of the first one. Is a pay request for Rice Lake.
Correct, $86,705. Application number 21. So with this one, there will only be just over $1 million left on the project, so we're getting there. Exciting.
Make a motion to approve pay request number 21 to Rice Lake Construction Group for $86,705.
Second.
Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Horacek.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
All right, the second one, Michael, is for site works.
For the Highway 38 water main project, includes some additional gravel that was placed on the road, included within the contract, in the amount of $49,797.25. So, on that
Just
one.
a typo in the, it's through 6/30 of '25, correct? Just confirming.
Yes.
Got it, okay.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, check one.
I didn't want to assume. I assumed, but I didn't want to assume. Motion to approve the pay request number 4 to Site Works for $49,797.25.
Second.
Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horacek?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
All right, and the third one, Michael, is for the Western Avenue.
Correct, mostly paving items, concrete curb and gutter, base course, and that fabric, in the amount of $397,813.14.
All right.
Make a motion to approve pay request number 3 to G&G Concrete Construction for $397,813.14.
Second.
All right, any discussion on this one?
When it's fully paved, then will they reopen the road or wait till they're done with sidewalks and all that stuff?
Sidewalks will likely lag until next year.
Okay, so
Just-
I guess so when it's, I'm sorry, they're gonna reopen once they're, like
They're
next
hoping to
week?
reopen next Thursday or next Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got wanted to cure just a.
Got
Wow.
cure, got
Yeah.
it saw cut, and then seal those
Yeah.
joints. So
Okay.
a little bit of work once it's paved, just
Yeah.
to get it ready for traffic. Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. Anything else on this one? If not, we'll vote. Schilling?
Yes.
Horacek?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right, Michael, anything else?
That is all I had.
All right, thank you very much. And we will move to Craig's report.
I'm just gonna, make a couple things, we didn't have a report because I was gone last week after the meeting.
Oh, that's right.
so,
Yeah.
I'll do some work with Jacob at the county and see, make sure we have proper signage up there. If we need to put something, speed zones ahead, I can't remember what's coming in town, I usually don't do
Right.
it that way. But I'll work with him on that. Lift station pump has been ordered, went up about, from 2,000 to just about 6,000 in 20 years, so same pump. We do have that on order. Parks, the bathroom, we did get that removed. We'll start staking it out for where the walls are gonna be, and then we'll get the plumber in there. When the plumbers come in to get their stuff done, we will be working on the dog park shade structure, so.
All right.
That's all I really have. If somebody's got something for me.
A question, you had mentioned a speed sign that maybe is digital or flashes or gives the impression that it's taking a photo.
So that's that speed trailer that just shows what your speed
Okay.
is. Yeah.
I've seen fixed speed
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
signs that do that.
I
It's been a
can-
while, I think, and you've priced them out for us before.
Yeah.
Could you give us some updated pricing, and would we be responsible for installing that if it's within the city limits, or is that still in the buffer, and that's county
I will
responsibility?
check with the county and see if we can't maybe do a cost share or something like that even on it. So
Okay.
we can do-
Isn't there one coming in from Highway 38?
There is, it doesn't work.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean it doesn't
I
slow
keep
down
thinking,
traffic?
oh my,
or-
I'm
It
going
doesn't
high
work.
speed.
I mean, the sign's blank.
Oh, I thought,
The one coming from
Yeah.
Humboldt, yeah,
Yeah.
that isn't
oh,
working.
that one, I'm talking to one coming in, from 38 coming in,
Westbound.
yeah, coming in.
Westbound works.
It
Yeah.
flashes at me every day.
I tell you what, and like, there is something psychologically that I'm like, oh, I gotta slow down.
Yeah.
You know, like, there is a psychological effect to it, so.
Well, sometimes you just truly don't realize you're speeding.
Yeah.
And I know the cops sit there all the time, so.
And here, I didn't even think, I thought that worked, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I gotta slow down,
It
it's
doesn't-
gonna be.
it doesn't work.
Well, it did work then.
It did, at some point in time, I think it did.
Figured if it wasn't on, it was working. You weren't speeding.
It was flashing red.
So I'll work with the county and see what we can come up with, see if there's signs. I'll get some numbers on what they cost for solar panel one, because that's what you'll need to put out there. See what they come up with. But with these tubes out there, people don't see them, so they don't think about slowing down. They do whatever's normal and natural for them. Sometimes you'll be surprised what the speed actually is compared to what the homeowner thinks it
Right.
is. So it'll be interesting to see what the numbers actually come in at, so.
I didn't even know that those tracks speed
Well, they
I
do.
mean, until I watched meetings, and I was like, I thought they were just counting cars.
Yeah, if you
You
set 'em
know,
up, yeah, there's
yeah.
a certain space they have to set them at, and then they'll register. there's a lot of information.
Honestly, all those, main entry points into town, it would be nice to have the flashing speed signs to get attention a little better.
Do we know why this one doesn't work over here?
I'd have to get all the state and see what's
Oh,
going on
it's
with
a-
what
What I would
Okay.
call the 2-lane or 4-lane
Well, Highway
highways,
30 or-
75 and
Yeah.
77.
I'll talk to them about it too.
Every little town has those flashers.
As it appears, they must have got the, speaking of flashing lights, the crosswalk on Vandemark and 38 must be fixed.
So, yeah, we readjusted it today again. I don't know if it's from, is a sun saver little panel in there, and I don't know if that's getting bad because it kind of resets itself. Like the one day it went back to 0 for time, so if you push it, flash would be done. Then the next time I noticed it was flashing just crazy for all day long. And then it quit, and I went up there today again and reset it, and now it's working again, so I told Jess, I said, well, I'll bring that, we've got another sun saver for it, we'll bring one out there and flop it out and see if that's gonna help. So,
Does the state work on that too?
no, them are ours. I had a guy from the state call me and asked me about it, told me that wasn't working, and I told him it was theirs, but. I said,
Well, I would have swore somebody was working on that, didn't work for Hartford, but.
If they ask, we tell them it's theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then I told him no.
Don't know how we got there.
we didn't put that up. Must have been you guys.
On your highway.
Wasn't me.
All right, any other questions for Craig? Thank you. Karen is gone this week, her report is in the packet.
Do we need anything to highlight there? I kind of glanced through it. Didn't see anything that made me too nervous.
Next, we'll move on to Teresa's report, city administrator.
Yeah, tons of updates from our last meeting. I'm still accepting applications for an operator for our new wastewater plant. We actually have an interview set up with a gentleman that submitted an application,
Okay.
has some
Yeah.
certification. So big Monday, me and Craig are going to do an initial interview with him, so we'll go from there. Getting our letters out to the other operators that we talked about. Put a little blurb in there. Now that we have closed up the 12th and Oak Street project, we've finalized out our LIP grant. We've got all our payment on that, and we are just finaling out the EDA grant. We should be getting final payment on that this month. Once we've got all that revenue in, we know our expenses, we'll be able to know the true cost of the road and be able to move forward with the assessment to those adjoining property owners. So that'll be probably within the next month or two, we'll be before you guys. Craig kind of alluded to this at the last meeting. We did have a loss control audit done a week ago. There's just some very minor things that we need to fix, some relating, fix the shelves, the deck signs, yeah, so we'll get all that taken care of. Couple administrative things they have asked us to do is update our safety manual. The last update was done in 2013. They provided us some, an updated manual that we should follow, a formatted template, I guess you would say. So I'll be working on that, so we can take a look at that to get that updated. Couple other just little administrative things too about hepatitis B shot, make sure our guys got them, or if they don't got them, they sign off saying that they don't want them, just so we have that record that it was offered and don't have it. Basically that's, and to adopt a back injury prevention program. So we'll work with them on doing that as well. So there'll be a few things will kind of be coming your way that we'll update it. So if we do all these things with loss control, this is through our workman's comp company. We do all these things, we do get a credit on our work comp bill. So obviously we want to, do it as well as for the safety of everybody and everything, but we do get that credit on our bill. So we'll be working on that so we can ensure that we keep getting that. The community access grant, I just had the mayor sign again. We are sending in the very same grant as we did last year. We worked with the state, seeing if we needed to update any of the numbers because, it has been bid and they're a little bit different. The state's telling us, submit it just as you did previously. They will treat it just like it came in last year. So sign that, we'll get that in because that needs to be in by the 15th of this month, so we'll get on the radar again. Little bit of a tip update. I had a meeting with Tom today. We went through the updated Windsor TIF plan. They've added Second Street as we've asked. So they updated that. There was a couple little tweaks they needed to make to it. They're going to do that. We need to get basically a temporary classification from the state of what kind of TIF, make sure they're classified as an economic development TIF. Once we get that, they're working on plating and zoning the lots. Then it'll go, the whole TIF plan, they'll be ready to go to the P&Z board again for their review and approval, and then come to you guys. That's on the Windsor group. We also received, a couple weeks ago, TIF information on the ASSAM TIF. We reviewed that. There are quite a bit of information on that. They're asking for a very large dollar amount with that one. Tom had some questions that he thought would be best if him, their TIF writer, the mayor, and I sit down and we review it in person. So we're trying to get a meeting set up in the next couple of weeks to review that first before we ever go to the P&Z board with setting the district. We just want to make sure we understand what exactly they're asking for, and that they are asking for a large dollar amount on that one. So I don't know how well that'll go over. So, but we're gonna have that meeting and we'll move forward with that. So we're, just a couple other things that I didn't have in my report to let you know. Park rec program will begin next week out of the park. So that runs through the whole month. We have quite a few kids signed up this year for it. We kept it at 50 per age group just because a manageable size for the director and whatnot. And I know our middle group kids, we have kind of a younger group, middle group, and then our 5th and 6th graders. The middle group is almost capped out right now, and the younger group's not far behind. So we're getting good numbers this year. Good. And then we have received an application for a softball tournament that's going to be held up at the sports complex. So it's actually the softball fast pitch tournament. They are having a tournament in Sioux Falls on July 23rd. Sioux Falls couldn't accommodate them with enough fields, so they're going to come out and use our 4 fields. So that'll hopefully generate a lot of people and some businesses there. The Hartford Area Softball Association is going to run the concession stand during that. We've talked to them about it, so hopefully they'll make some money there. We'll get some people in town spending some money, and we can go from there. Maybe we'll track some more tournaments. So.
This is actually the national, according to Al, this is the national tournament.
Sweet.
Yeah,
That they're
So
hosting
they're
it.
just making some games out
Yeah.
here.
Yes, yeah.
Not a whole
No.
age group. or-
Exactly. They, most of them are going to be in Sioux Falls, but they just don't have enough fields that they can give them, so they're going to be playing
They
some
go
of
like
them
the
out here.
constellation rounds, they'll shoot them out here, what I understood.
Yep, that's
So,
exactly right.
yeah.
So, yeah, so it's nice to see that being used a little more. So.
You bet. All
All
right.
right, unless you got questions?
With the bid that's being let tomorrow, where would we as a council find that?
Yeah.
The bid that's being.
Or on,
On the
not
4th.
tomorrow, but on the 4th, I'm sorry.
For the parking lot.
So someone asked me about that.
Oh, sure,
Where can
sure.
I find it? Where can I direct them? Can you
Yes,
share that
yes.
with us?
Yep, so bids required by law are posted in the city's appointed newspaper, which is the Minnehaha Messenger.
Right.
That advertisement will direct them to a link, Quest, they can go in.
Yeah.
That's a service that we use, it's pretty industry standard. Go in, download the plans and project manual there.
Yep.
And then, once it comes time to bid, then it's bid in person, that's the call.
You did mention that according to codified law, it would be posted there. Can we have a link that would make that easier, that we could review, that we could look at those plans, if questions come up from taxpayers, hey, what's that project involved?
Sure.
So he had said he's going to send those plans to us. I'm going to put it in your guys' box.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
just, okay.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Sounds great, thank you.
Yep.
All right, anything else, Teresa?
Nope.
Anybody got any questions for Teresa? All right, well, quick move to old business update. We have a, thank you all for your comments and great discussion last meeting on the marketing plan. I just want to give you a quick update. I did have a great meeting this afternoon with the Chamber Director, Jill Scott. So, to talk about how we think we can work together, because there were several comments or really that the action should include the chamber very heavily. She is very 100% on board with helping us with that deal. So yeah, we had a great meeting. I need to talk to their leadership and just so we, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. But, yeah, we're gonna keep moving that forward. So, yeah, she's got a lot of great ideas. It was a great meeting. All right? So we will jump down to new business. We have 2 items. First one is to release funds for the foul poles at Swenson Park. This is money that the Park and Rec Board had asked and we had approved in their budget. And they are asking for the release of those funds. And
So the $3,500?
is what they
35 is
need.
they're asking for, yeah.
3,500,
Yep.
yeah,
Meet the cost of the 4 poles.
yeah.
Make a motion to approve the request from the Park and Rec Board for $3,500 for foul poles.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Very conservative, I ask, on their part,
Yeah.
so far.
There's probably more to come.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get them up for that.
That's
Yeah.
great timing. Will they be installed by tournament time?
We're gonna try it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Beaverville will make them for us and paint them, so as soon as we
Okay.
get them made, I'll talk to them guys actually tomorrow.
Yeah,
They made the last one, so they've got the plans and everything,
yeah.
so we will work our best to get them built and put up, so.
Sounds great.
Good. All right, any other discussion? If not, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horacek?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
All right. The next one is under new business is some additional legislative changes, and really this is for discussion only. Teresa and I discussed this, and we wanted to put this on so she could kind of give you guys a little heads up.
Yeah, so with the new legislative laws going into effect, there are 2 things we're going to need to change. One of them is our ordinance that sets our election date, and the other one is our city employee manual that addresses firearms. So I just want to have a discussion of which way or how the council wants to go. With the election date, like I said, we've always held our city election in April, and that was allowed for municipalities. They are no longer giving that option to us. So an April date is mentioned in our ordinances, so we will have to pass a new ordinance with a different date. The options they're giving us now are basically cities can hold their elections in June or November. It'd be the first Tuesday after the first Monday of both those months. I think the whole backing from the discussion during the legislative session is they want to, the schools are usually in June, the general elections are in November. I think they're looking at trying to get them on the same dates with either one of them to get a bigger voter turnout, to get more people to come. So that is why they're just trying to combine more of this. It doesn't mean that, so say we have it in June and we have it with the school, they're going to leave it up to the municipality and school to decide if we want to have a joint election board or not. We can still have our own, we can hold them in the same place, I mean, we'll have it the same day in the same place, but we can each have our own election board or our own ballots or whatnot, because it might get a little confusing, because especially with the school, they have a much wider area than we do. It'd be hard to figure out who votes for what, where, what not, so it might be simpler, to keep kind of all that separate, which we can do. We would just have it at the same place on the same date. Same thing with the general election with the county. So the real question is, I'll have to present a new ordinance to you guys, so it's, do we want to have the city election in June, or do we want to have it in November?
My instinct is November.
November, yeah, because of budgeting,
Well,
budgeting
and
new
that's
council member
that's
coming in
kind
in
of
June, you're doing.
one point I brought up
budget in July.
to Arden is that you get so we have our election in June, they'll start in July. We're gonna have a budget meeting in August. That's kind of really throwing somebody into the fire, as you can say, there you go.
It's bad
So-
enough the way it is.
So Daryl,
Exactly,
you're on
yeah.
until November.
Yeah, yeah, so yeah, what it affects is those that would be up in April, which would be your appointment as well, you're on until November then, is
Yeah.
basically what the law has stated then, so. And that's
So,
what's going
If
forward.
the school hasn't reached out to us looking to partner with us for maybe a better turnout for their June election, my concern would be like, we just, be a lot of people on vacation, you're gonna get a smaller turnout.
That is true, and you've done that too, during the summer months, you may get that, at school, so. And usually, school has the same thing as municipalities, they just have low turnout or whatnot. If we partner with the county on a general election, especially if it's like a big election year or whatnot, you might generate a better turnout too, so, that would be helpful.
I'm trying to figure out how to get off this council, no offense, but.
We can make that happen. Let's write rules on censoring her.
No, maybe we can't.
So is it kind of the consensus to go with them? Because like I said, I'll have to present you guys with an ordinance to
Yeah.
review and whatnot, because I'll have to change it in
I
writing.
mean,
so.
you could have big problems during budget if you have a lot of
Yeah.
turnover on council.
Totally. Totally.
I agree. I
Yeah.
don't want to,
Grind the wheels of city government to an absolute halt.
It's very overwhelming.
because really, you
Yeah,
could
budget
have,
is really-
really in the election year, especially if it's a mayor one, you can have 4 different people on there, so that could be a big change, and that'd be,
Right.
so I agree that I think the November one is,
You don't want to do that, do you?
don't want to deal with that, no. So I agree, November would be
Orange shirts.
Okay, that'll be, we'll present something at a later date.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, like I said, it's with our employee manual. We adopted a new manual last year. In that manual, basically, we've kind of had no weapons on city property, within city buildings, city vehicles or whatnot. The new law says that we cannot restrict employees from having firearms, basically it just said. It doesn't say anything about explosives or bows and arrows or whatnot, like our manual does, but we can't restrict employees from having firearms. So looking for some direction on that too. I don't know if, I put in your packet what we currently have in our employee manual.
I'd like to see it changed where it just eliminates the firearms aspect, but does address other weapons in the workplace.
Okay, and that was the question, is do we just take out firearms and keep the rest of the wording, or eliminate the section?
Is there any preference from
I would be
city
curious
staff?
on the, obviously I started this battle. On the knives, we have people that carry knives. I guess I'll have to look on the manual here.
So we allow like pocket knives and
Okay.
whatnot, but it's,
You could limit the size of the blade or something like that.
yeah,
I would agree with Travis. I mean, take out the firearms, keep it how it is, boom, done.
yeah. What it says for as knives, you can't have like weapon style knives, like Bowie knives, machetes,
Right.
Dilanos. You can have the foldable pocket knives, or, in that respect. Is that kind of the sense?
I'm very okay with that. I think it's just crazy that you have firearms and ammunition.
It's not crazy. This is constitutionally protected and it's all state,
No, I
it's not
mean,
crazy.
but
Yeah.
we're gonna say you can't bring a knife. I mean,
Well,
You can bring a gun,
No, I'm totally
knife,
fine
is
with
this, I think what you're
that's not a
saying.
knife, this is a knife.
I mean.
What is that? Is that
It's
that's
like, the old,
and I will,
don't bring a knife to a gunfight. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just-
exactly.
do we have archery equipment banned right now? Or was just a suggestion?
In our policy manual, you can't have like bows and arrows.
Yeah, so I think, once again, the other issue that we're gonna run into with that is, I think this would not allow somebody, a city worker who's a bow hunter, to have a bow in their car.
It
parked on
says they
city
can
property.
have it
Does
in
it?
their personal vehicle line.
It does say that?
It just can't have it in a city vehicle.
Perfect.
Yes.
You get this information the same time we do, Sean, just take a look.
I do too, man, but I've read this, you know what, there's so much information
You know,
here, it's just,
I would say just in the firearms, leave it like that. because
Yeah.
Who's gonna bring
I
a bow? I
agree.
mean, I got a crossbow, I'm not gonna bring a cumbersome bow and throw it in my truck.
It's just the whole thing is a little goofy to me, but I agree. I mean,
Does that give you
that's
enough
what- that's what
direction
we
to
need
get
do,
going?
that's what we
Yep, I
should
can
do, is just
reword
take
this then
that out.
to not address firearms, and like I said, this is gonna have to come before you guys to approve the change anyway, so we'll review it again. So that gives me enough direction of knowing what to do.
All right, perfect. All right, that looks like it. I'm wondering if we should go exec for,
Economic development.
yeah, to give an update.
Yeah.
You want to make that
Motion to exit for executive session.
Like you said, that's a lot of money,
Yeah.
so I'm.
Yes, everything goes, you know, the kind of a two-step process. You gotta approve the district, goes to the planning and zoning board and you guys, and then you gotta approve the plan. It goes to the planning and zoning board and you guys, so
Yeah.
you guys review
We got a few
everything.
steps.
We'll be advised by our.
There's a lot of steps to it, and you guys will get,
Yep.
yeah.
Like I said, that's a lot of money, I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
motion,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.